Wow. I would like to thank my producer. It's great to be here again. I think this is the fourth or the fifth year that I'm here, and I want to thank you, Joe, for that very gracious introduction, and Bank of America for your involvement in our city. I want to thank Oz and the Metro Hartford Alliance for all the work that you do, for connecting our business community, but more importantly, for connecting the business community very strongly with our local, our state, and our federal government. I know that all of you work very hard to produce these events and also to assist our community. I'm very proud to continue to see more and more businesses signing up with the Metro Hartford Alliance, not only the number, but the quality of the businesses that are signing up. Speaking of our growing business community, for those of you who have been here before, and for those of you who have not been here before, isn't this a great place? I mean, it is just amazing. I'm sure that you are impressed, and I want you to come back more often, especially here. The food is really, really good here for those who haven't been, especially the soups in these cold winter days. And try some of our other restaurants. I know that Bears had lunch there last week. The brisket just keeps on getting better. Also, 50 Elm, smaller, but more cozy and very friendly. And to everyone here, I wish you all a very happy and productive new year. I want to, Charmaine, thank you. Thank you for what you have done for this city in terms of improving the knowledge of our community to the importance of reforesting our city and educating our youth about what that infrastructure, that green infrastructure does for them and their community. So I want to thank you, and I'll definitely be at your award this afternoon. Thank you so much. And also to the folks at Camp Current, it's more than just a summer camp. It's more than just a summer camp. It is a place where tens of thousands of the children of this city have received not only a great summer experience, but some vision of hope and to see some things that they had never experienced before, and that helps them in their development. So thank you so much, and congratulations on getting some money from the state for infrastructure improvement. That's really great. To everyone here, I want to wish you a very productive and fruitful 2015, and as always, I want to acknowledge each and every one of you for your commitment to the progress of Connecticut capital city for our beloved city of Hartford. That, of course, is the main object of today's presentation, and we always like to check in at this time of the year. This time I'm going to keep my speaking time very short because this is structured to be a conversation, and I want to have plenty of time for questions. But I want to set some background here. And each and every year that I've appeared here, I've always started out with a quote. And I've quoted our beloved Mark Twain. I've quoted Nelson Mandela. And this year, I thought I'll stay closer to home and share with you what the people have been saying recently about Hartford as a way of getting the conversation started. Just this past weekend in the New York Times, the artist, professor, and son of the well-known photographer Pablo Delano, wrote a piece about Hartford, and he describes it this way, quote, "Hartford bears the scars and reaps the benefit of the urban renewal and social upheaval of the mid-20th century. For a small city, Hartford boasts extraordinary ethnic diversity and fluidity. Visually breathtaking, I quickly realized that negative stereotypes about the city were misinformed at best," end quote. And he went on to say, Hartford's built environment manifests this creative spirit. It tells a story of a brash new beauty, but also of respect for historical form. Now, I know that we're not artists here, and we're not nearly that prolific, but some of our colleagues are saying similar things. In this week's Hartford Current, when talking about yet another higher education institution expanding into our downtown, Trinity College, the executive vice president of CBRE RE New England, John McCormick, said this: Trinity's decision to establish a downtown presence is just another indication that both corporations and institutions are looking to capitalize on the growing momentum in the central business district. And to our friend and colleague, Andy Bissett, Executive Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer at the Travelers, had this to say recently in the Hartford Business Journal. Recent renovations downtown have temporarily changed my normal morning commute, leaving me with two options for getting to work. One ride is about 10 minutes shorter than the other. I take the longer way. The longer way is a refreshing reminder of good things taking place in the ever-evolving city of Hartford. Now, just to be clear, I certainly had nothing to do with these statements being made, but I wholeheartedly agree. These individuals were responding to what they see around them, both physically and otherwise. To me, these comments reflect growing and palpable optimism that exists in Hartford right now. What I am proud of is contributing to that sense of optimism. There's a very different energy in Hartford today compared with just a handful of years ago. It is a positive energy. That is something that has been quite in short supply for quite some time. It just didn't happen. It is the result of hard work by my administration, the people and those who care about it, including everyone in this room, our first responders, our community. We grew tired of pessimism and decided to step boldly and begin to turn things around. And today, the city of Hartford, it's better than it's been in recent history. We have more economic development than we've had in the past 40 years. Our schools have the highest graduation rate ever recorded. Our city is safer than it's been in decades. There's more foot traffic downtown than ever before. And a perfect example of that is that we're here today at Infinity Hall. I remember when we were here wearing hard hats and shovels, and now look, those shovels and hard hats have been getting quite a workout. And we're not done yet. This is Hartford progress. So I want to give you some highlights and quick updates on items we discussed last year at this time. I had initially wanted to do sort of like a scoreboard, or what do you call it, just a checkoff list of all the things that I have presented in past breakfasts and just sort of keep track of what's been accomplished and what's in process. But I want to give some highlights and quick updates on some of the items, and I look forward to your conversation. In 2014, over 40 new businesses opened in the city of Hartford. Infinity and Ted's Bear Smokehouse are included in that. We created over 300 new jobs and retained over 1,000 jobs through lease renewals and/or expansions. Renewals and expansions include Con, Resnick, and the Hartford. And those numbers build on similar growth the previous year and the year before that. I told you that the next time that we got together, we would have a new superintendent of schools and a new chief operating officer. Dr. Beth Shivano Narvaez and Darrell Hill have hit the ground running with professionalism, dedication, and unequivocal expertise. Our bond rating is stable, and this year, through the sale of municipal bonds, our borrowing costs were the lowest in decades. I want to acknowledge our treasurer, Adam Cloud, and Chief Operating Officer Darrell Hill for their diligence. We're working together to keep Hartford's credit strong and the credit rating, make it a strategic point to improve upon it in the future as well. Last year, I told you about 10 developments in the planning stages or underway, just to give people a chance to live in a downtown. Now, a year later, our 1,200 units of housing are starting to come online, and we're seeing something that we have not seen for a while. Moving trucks are starting to move people into new apartments downtown. That is going to be a familiar sight, so get used to it. Who else is coming to Hartford? Trinity is coming to Constitution Plaza. Yukon is coming to the Times Building. Businesses are moving in from the suburbs, and entrepreneurs are starting new, innovative companies and enterprises. Our SC2 Challenge, it's on its way. We had our first recent round of awards, and we expect to move into the second phase with the final awards. This is an innovative project that is going to bring us ideas that we can generate and nurture to move our city forward. The American Athletic Conference Championships will be happening this year in March at the Excel Center. In 2016, USA Gymnastics will return again, the third time during my tenure, to have the national championships in an Olympic year, coincide with an Olympic year. And as you may see in the news, the Cyclocross Nationals will be here in 2017. We hope to continue to grow the list of championships in this city, hopefully to expand with championships in the field of baseball and soccer as well. As you may have heard, next year we will have a AA baseball team playing right here in Hartford. We recently announced the creation of a stadium authority that will issue revenue bonds for construction of the ballpark, which will save the city a minimum of $10 million in lease payments. As I said a few months ago, doing nothing was not an option, at least not for me. We've seen nothing done in that part of the city for far too long. And with tremendous inputs from residents all across the city, we are moving forward. The development of Downtown North, which will become a new neighborhood just a short walk away from our core business district, is a transformational project in Hartford. It eliminates blights, it creates jobs, and it will give us another reason to be proud of our great city. We will be breaking ground at the beginning of February. Actually, that's like next month. You're all invited. I'll arrange for good weather. Coltsville received its national park status by Congress. That is huge for us. That initiative was expertly spearheaded by Congressman Larson. I want to thank him dearly, as well as the other members of the federal delegation. I went to Washington to testify twice on the city's behalf and worked closely with him in support of this monumental effort. This decision will help shape the renaissance that the city of Hartford is undergoing and will lead to long-term job growth in the region and increase the focus of heritage and tourism in our state. I want to say that I have no regrets of the substantial investments that the city has made financially and otherwise in moving this project forward. Our own pop-up retail program, which converted empty storefronts in the downtown area, came to a close this year. 2 of the 3 participating retail stores signed long-term leases in downtown, and the other will expand in Parkville. Over the course of 11 months, the iConnect program produced over 45 events, attracting over 9,000 shoppers and engaged 45 vendors and individual artists from across the state of Connecticut and the region. We use this platform to launch our first Shop Hartford campaign to promote local shopping. JetBlue has selected Hartford as their site for One Thing That's Green campaign in 2015. Other cities that have won in the past are Portland, Oregon, Washington, D.C., Las Vegas, and New York City. This spring, we'll partner up with Knox Parks to create a green space, possibly in Westport Park. And something that's not here, and it's embargoed, so I can't give you the details. I've been contacted by the U.S. Conference of Mayors to also advise us that we will be getting a very nice award and prize at the upcoming winter conference of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. I'll fill you in on the details later after the embargo is lifted. I think you get the point. Economic development is booming in the capital city. Now I want to be clear again that this just doesn't happen. All of this significant development is the result of hard work and focus. And the reality is that we need more revenue for the capital city. Like most cities across the country, every year we face the reality of shrinking revenues and increasing expenses. We cannot place further burden on the taxpayers, but we also cannot cut back on any further on essential services. To be clear, essential services are public safety, the maintenance of our streets and parks, and we cannot cut any further. What we've chosen to do instead is to restructure our city government and work as hard as we can to bring more revenue into our city, and then work with the legislature on items that will place Hartford on a long-term path to fiscal stability. Let me also put some numbers on the table in two areas that are absolutely critical: public safety and education. Yesterday afternoon, we released our 2014 crime statistics. We compared our numbers today to 2011, when Police Chief James Rovella and I started to work together with laser focus on reducing violent crimes. And the results are clear. Serious crime is declining in Hartford, and it continues to decrease. Our homicides have gone down 17% since last year and 30% since 2011. Violent crime in our downtown particularly is extremely rare. Since 2011, there have been 3 homicides in downtown, one of them taking place at a juice bar that is now closed. When you examine all the factors that contribute to gun violence or serious violence, they tell the story of a complex issue that requires a comprehensive approach, and it requires involvement from various community stakeholders in order to create change. I think that as mayor, my strategy to keep crime down is simple. Number one, make sure that our young people have opportunities that are increased through youth employment, through year-round activities, job training, because all this contributes to increased economic development. And the more increased economic developments, the more jobs, the more opportunities, the less need to engage in criminal behavior. 2, partner up with organizations, the state, community leaders, businesses, the corporate community, anyone who is invested in our mission and our philosophy. And 3, make sure that our police force has the resources that they need to engage in preventative police work, community policing, the PAL program, and the ability to hire more officers. As we move forward, that will remain my focus. I want to continue for us to work together to keep our families safe, keep our children safe, our businesses thriving, and our city on a positive trajectory. We're approaching another budget season. And as you know, unlike the federal government, we're obligated to pass a balanced budget every year. My priority will be public safety, as it has always been. This will allow us to build on our progress and ensure that all hands are on deck in keeping our residents and businesses safe. Lastly, I want to update you on public schools. We all know that good schools are an anchor for economic development and for financial stability. Through the years in our city, I've talked with many families who wanted to stay in Hartford but felt that they weren't comfortable with the performance of our school system. That is changing. Last year, we recruited a new superintendent, and I honestly can say that Beth Shavano Narvaez has hit the ground running, working positively to continue the momentum of our schools. Since day one, her approach has been to listen, to learn, to exercise leadership, and to lead with compassion. I have truly been impressed. She is the right person at the right place at the right time, and she has something to build on. High school's graduation rates, which 7 years ago stood at a low 29%, has completely reversed itself and hit a landmark high of 71.2% in 2013, according to the State Department of Education. That represents a steady climb of more than 43 percentage points since 2006. When Hartford Public Schools launched an ambitious effort to reform its educational system and also began calculating its graduation rate based on a 4-year cohort. For Hartford Public Schools, that means that out of every 10 students who enrolled in high school as a freshman in 2009, more than 7 of them graduated. Make no mistake, the improvement of our schools and the increased safety of our city in concert have contributed to the significant investment in our city. Public education, public safety, higher education, jobs, housing, economic development, arts, culture, entertainment, restaurants. When we say Hartford has it, we mean it. We are a great capital city, and we're becoming even greater with each passing day. I can keep going on the list of things that are happening in Hartford. It gets longer all the time, but I haven't highlighted all of the great things that are happening in our neighborhoods, but I really would like to hear from you. So thank you for what has been a very productive partnership. Thank you for moving our city forward together. And with that, I want to entertain your questions and engage you in a conversation. Thank you.